file with your.
Belleville Area District Library Board of Trustees will come to order, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we will begin with our roll call, and for that, we will ask our secretary, Alma Groves, to conduct the roll call.
Okay, Jehevitt, here. Dawson,
Here.
Doriga,
Here.
Peters,
Here.
Priest,
Here.
Stoudemire.
Here.
Hughes Grubbs, present.
Here, we're all present. The next item on our agenda is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
A second. It's been moved by Doriga and supported by Dawson, that the agenda as presented, there's the word, be approved. Are there any questions or any additions or changes to the agenda? Seeing none. Although it's moved and seconded appropriately, so all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying no. The agenda is approved with no dissenting votes, and I will take a moment of privilege to ask you, Mary Jo, did you see an email I sent this afternoon? Good. Last week we talked, I think this might be appropriate time. We talked last month about the committee assignments. And when I went home, I had noted that we hadn't had printed ones last year. We weren't meeting on time. So I got those together, and you can share them with Rosemary and Barbara as well. We talked last time about keeping the committees pretty much the way that they had been functioning. And so this document envisions that there was no hue and cry from any of our members about a change. So I did want to just officially have our listing of committees. So that was a slight little added thing on the agenda that I just snuck in. So we are on item 4, approval of the regular minutes of January 11th, our regular meeting, January 11th. Those minutes were distributed in advance, and I think you've all had a chance to look them over.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Tanya Stoudemire and support by Priest that we approve these minutes. And if there are any comments or changes or small tweaks, this is the time to bring it up. Being none, we can go ahead and vote on these minutes. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by saying no. And now we have our regular business taken care of. And we are to public comments, and we do have a couple of members of the public. Anything that either of you want to say?
I have nothing to say, other than I've been to the library a couple of times and I've gotten wonderful service. It's just lovely. It's a grand thing to come here.
We are very glad that you have been here. I think you've been to one of our meetings since we've been in here, but I don't know if you've been to a meeting up here in this room.
I have not.
So I'm very happy to have you.
I'm happy to see you. Thank you.
But Rosemary, do you have anything?
No.
Oh, okie dokie. Then we are now on item 6, which is our committee reports. And many of our updates on what we're doing, we're going to come in these committee reports. Some of the committees have been meeting and others just have some business for us to discuss. So we will start as we always do with the building committee, which did meet and I unfortunately missed it. I'm very sorry.
And so did I.
Ah. Well, in that
So-
case, we will have Mary Jo, John and Mary Jane, the three of you were at the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And we were paying attention.
And you were paying. Would any of you want to give a report?
We could all just jump right in.
Yeah.
Like, the humidification unit was being worked on by Long Mechanical. They had 3 units they're working on so that the humidity in the building is from 30 to 35%. So, okay.
It's all done.
Yes,
So.
no, I lied. No.
So I got a question, Mary Jo, in terms of the staff's comfort, is it noticeable improvement?
They came out actually this week to fire, turn it on, fire it up,
Okay,
and discovered that there's an issue that DTE needs to resolve with the amount of gas volume that we have. So they need to talk to DTE.
less or
We
more?
need more gas.
You need bigger pipes.
I don't know that yet. I think DTE might just need to do something.
Okay,
So they're pursuing that.
So it's still ongoing.
Yes.
Okay,
also, we had to flush or Dean flushed the hot water heater because it was kept clogging up the dishwasher. Now, is that in better shape? There you go.
We will see.
Okay,
it was
So far, so
operating,
good, though.
Right.
it was operating the last time I was in here.
Yeah.
So. that is a
what's the
good
story
sign.
on the new bench?
Dean needs to install it. We have it.
We're getting a new
Yeah.
bench. It could be installed out in front.
Yeah.
Okay. With a name tag on it, right?
Yes.
Okay. The floors, the heating floors are on. I checked them this morning with the little buckaroos in there.
Okay.
Did you
Okay.
sit on the
Yeah.
floor?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, I got on the floor.
You were able to get back up again?
That's my question.
I had help from the little kids.
It could be great yoga.
Wouldn't that be great? It really. Okay, jump in anytime.
Okay.
You're doing good.
Yeah.
Keep calm.
That's all I got.
Oh,
Okay, Dean was supposed to be returning on Monday of this week to check on the leak.
He was out this Monday to deal with the HVAC and work on some of the projects that we still have waiting to finish up. We still have a lot of little projects, so he finished up some drywall repair and painting in the meeting room area.
Also, the company that did all of our desks in the room here, they have got Cherry Edge. And in the past, the librarians would spray the computer with disinfectant because of COVID. And the disinfectant had alcohol in it and it ate up some of the finish. So the company's gonna come out and redo some of the finish on the desk out there.
on the computer.
On the, yeah.
Anything that Sherry would have.
Is there something that can be used on
Oh,
it
we've
that
been
won't do
doing
that?
the spray on it.
Say,
Is there something that can be used on?
Right, but it was the
wood
cherry
To,
I don't know.
Sanitize it.
I don't know that.
because it's just gonna happen again. So. There's gotta be something that's not as caustic.
Wood friendly.
You should ask them when they
sanitizer.
come out, what do they recommend?
Yeah.
That-
Well,
That'd be
I
just a
think we're at
shame.
a point now where we can,
Not do it as much.
Ease up a little bit.
yeah.
It's an airborne disease. and
Right,
not a
Mhm.
touch thing.
Yeah. when
True, we didn't know at the beginning.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
beginning, we were wiping down. We didn't know. Oh, yeah, that furniture.
That's all I have.
They are also pursuing some alarms to put on some of the emergency exit stair doors so that the alarm will go off when you push the door. So that is pending.
And the heating issues that we had in the last couple of weeks, have they resolved? or-
We had a issue with the furnace on Thursday. There was a sensor line or something that got clogged or frozen with snow. So long mechanical had to come out and repair that. Took a while to figure out where the problem was, whether it was a software problem or a physical problem on the roof, so. But that's been
And
addressed.
it turned out it was a physical problem.
Turned out that was a physical problem.
Is it gonna happen again or?
I think they actually have a solution that they're gonna, something that they can do to prevent that in the future. And a minor problem on Saturday where we brought them back out for one portion of the building. And that was something they were able to easily take care of at the time, so.
Well, we are tamping down, we're winding down on the many long agenda items. The building committee will know that we have had meetings that were 2 and 3 and more hours long, and now it doesn't sound like we had quite as long a meeting, or at least not as full an agenda.
Right.
You all maybe talked about a whole bunch of other stuff, who knows?
No, that was pretty much it, I think, because.
We did, yeah. We did receive, we had ordered some extra tables from HLF and they just came today. So we have a display table upstairs for putting books on, that's by the stairway. And we have a table for the online catalog in our downstairs where the self-check machines are, so as you enter the building. We were finding a lot of adults that, you know, had to go into the kids' room to look for their books that were on the first floor, so we've taken care of that.
Good.
Plus in the past, they put up these plastic holders on the wall for handouts,
Yeah. Mhm,
and that was done too. That's
mhm.
pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, the brochure holders and the bulletin board.
So we won't have to put them on tables anymore?
Right.
Right. Yeah, we're getting there, all these little details that are taking quite a while after the big work was done, but it's coming along. Are there any other questions or points about the building that we should discuss before we move on?
One more question, all of those little signs, when do those come in?
February 14th, they're installing the majority of them.
Good.
And then there are some that they need to come back to do March 23rd. And actually I don't want to steal the thunder of the marketing committee, but the marketing committee postponed the legacy donor event until April 29th, and it's probably for the best because a couple of the signs that are being delayed are the etched signs.
Uh-huh.
So the large signs that go in the COSAD room, the building dedication sign, and a couple of the outdoor landscaping signs.
We've been approaching this with a great deal of humor. We've all these, the little details that go in for signs.
Frayed nerves for Mary Jo.
Yeah, we've known, so we did, it'll come up in the marketing meeting that fortunately they had the foresight to change things for the fact that these are taking a while. But that'll be good, though, these details, like, it'll be fun. We'll be able to figure out when the things that are pasted to the wall with blue tape are gone and we have real signs instead of tape.
Yeah.
So, but they all look good. And I'm glad to hear if February 14th, that's just next week, so they have been moving along. Well, we'll all have to come in and do scavenger hunts and find out who's observant enough to see where the new signs are. Oh, good, thank you. The bylaws committee,
No report?
no report. The finance committee, Tanya.
So I want to remind the board and the public that at our June meeting last year, the finance committee recommended that the library millage be placed on the primary election for 2022. And at that time, we indicated that we would have a board action in March. So I'm asking for the finance committee to meet between now and then so that we can have some further discussions as we prepare for that.
Good. This is the renewal millage, but as you recall, we all discussed it last year and there was, could have been an option to try last year. We felt to go with the primary when an election has to be held anyway, instead of having to do all this. So there are some specific things about, it's the renewal of the
Fire millage.
regular, the millage that was established before the new building did millage. So before we operate, before we have any action on that next month, I think it's really good that we start looking at it. Thank you for bringing it up, Tanya. Does anybody have any questions?
I just, yeah, but it doesn't have to, it does have to do with that. Does anybody know what the timeline is for getting that information down to the clerk's office?
May 10th.
May
If
10th.
you want to place it on the August primary ballot, the deadline is May 10th.
Okay,
Yeah, that's when we should have it.
So-
So a majority of voters.
And then I think we also said if for some reason, if it didn't pass in May, we could try it again in November.
Yes. If it didn't pass in August.
I'm sorry,
In
August,
August,
yeah.
Yeah, I was all goofed up the other day on whatever year. We'll get it together. By the time we have it on there, we'll all be saying the right thing.
And I think the biggest decision is probably what length the millage should be, if we should match it up with the other operating millage so that, you know, everything kind of evens out. We're looking at it, we would be looking at it again then in 2036. Or if there's any advantage to
Some people-
staggering it.
Some people will be looking at it in 2036. Some of us might not be looking at much.
how many years is that from now? Because I don't do math.
14
14
years. I hope to be on the planet, but I don't know how much. Somewhere. Oh, well.
We could all be together doing that.
Yeah. Well, so and you have on your list who the finance committee are. And I plan to attend the finance committee meeting along with Tanya and Joy. And they are posted meetings, so if any of you else, if any others, when the meeting is called, we'll let you know. But that's important work for us to do. It's kind of our basics, but we have to take care of our basics in order to have our finances in shape. So thank you, Tanya. Anything further on finance that people have questions about or want to bring up right now? Okey dokey, then we will move to the marketing committee. Alma?
Okay, yes. Okay, we met on January the 19th here. And we discussed the donors event as well as the grand opening. The grand opening date will remain the same, which is April the 9th. And the donors event has been changed to April the 29th. We moved that back. So at the meeting, Michelle Montour was present and she brought a wealth of information. She gave us an idea of what she's looking at doing as far as the invitations that are going to be sent out to the donors. So she's going to get back with us and we'll decide exactly which invitations we're going to move forward with. And we talked about possibly having calligraphy or the invitations having a clear label. Also, Mary Jane Dawson is looking into Angel Food Catering and Belleville Yacht Club for a bartender for the donors event. We talked about that and she's going to get back with menu items and, all that's still in the planning stage. No final decisions have been made about that. And we're trying to put together an agenda for both events, the activities that we're gonna have. And I mean, I don't know if you wanna know this, but, we just talked about some different items to pass out to the donors. As far as, souvenirs, memorabilia that people may wanna hold on to. We also talked about the time capsule and some of the items that may go inside the time capsule. And I know I'll probably be around to open the time capsule. It's a little ways off, but we talked about that. And also backing up a little bit as far as the RSVP from the people that are the donors. It was suggested that we use email or, people calling the library directly. And we talked about using some of the young people that are involved in some of the programs here to participate for the grand opening, giving them, something to do, and also having an area to kind of entertain them as well. And
The dates were April 9th and April 29th.
April 29th, correct.
And the evening of April 29th.
Right.
Yeah.
And the donor event is an evening event. And grand opening is all day afternoon event, aren't we?
I thought we said 11. I have to go look at my notes.
11,
Yeah.
from 11 on, we'll have a lot of things going on.
And then we talked about, just kind of having stations set up where people can have their questions answered, do a tour of the library so they can become more familiar. And also putting something together where we'll have video with the construction of the building so that, people can really get a chance to see everything that, well, a lot of things that went on during the construction process. So it should be pretty exciting. So we're anticipating a lot of the community to come out and support the event.
And Barbara, we're having Paul Keller's band play.
Wonderful.
Both,
Oh, wonderful.
yes.
You made that connection?
Mary
Yeah.
Jo took care of that.
Oh, that's wonderful.
John Holt.
John brings a lot of ideas. And the marketing committee is set to meet again tomorrow at 3. So it's the things that Alma just reported on will very, very soon to be updated. But also we're in the home stretch to get all this together and have it come out right. So it's kind of an all hands on deck thing. Certainly the members of the marketing committee, but other board members, John has been participating sometime in some of these committees. And it's fine. We need all the attention, help, all hands on deck.
It's the
So
library partiers that are participating.
party group. So good. Moving right along. We are at the personnel committee, Linda. Okay, that committee does its work so well that it only has to report. Yeah, and now the policy committee, Mary Jane.
I have no report.
Okay, we are, and then the art committee has not met this month, and it is scheduled, I think there is a scheduled meeting. Is there?
I think they're looking at meeting in March.
I think there was a March meeting. I think the last I saw, see you in March was what what we came up with, so,
Yeah, the 17th.
17th.
but that committee, I say it every time, that committee has really been helpful. I know Barbara, you were part of helping us get that started, that art committee, and helping to put those policies about the things that we would acquire and what we wouldn't acquire, and it was very good that we had all that in place by the time we opened, because we've had to bring out those policies several times. And we will continue to, so,
I have a question. You said the 17th of
is it
March.
17th of March? Okay. And,
That's when the art committee is meeting.
that's St. Patrick's Day. so that's-
Yeah.
oh,
Green beer.
wearing
I
the
don't know.
green. Wearing the green, I wonder, well, I guess they knew when they said it, it was,
Art committee, yeah.
hopefully everybody won't be
17th of
all
March.
falling over on green beer.
And
Okay,
the time, please.
3 o'clock usually.
okey dokey, that takes care of our committees. Is there any other extraneous business that fits in these committees that anybody needs to bring up? Seeing and hearing none, we can move on to our accounts payable, which are listed in your packet as they always are. Here they are. I've got trouble finding them, but I know they're here. We're back to accounts, we're back to accounts payable like the usual kind, like we used to have these last couple of years with all the construction stuff. It's been a lot more, but we're now getting down to our normal expenses for normal kind of things. So that's what you see before you. We can discuss this, but we will need a motion and we will need to take action. Been moved by Tanya Stoudemire and supported by Mary Jane Dawson that the accounts payable be approved. Any questions before we vote?
I do, but it's just a clarification because it doesn't make sense to me. It's down about 5 things. Bloomfield Township reimbursing for found book. They found one of our books, we found one of their books. I'm confused. Or should it say reimbursing for lost book?
It might be a lost book. I'll have to ask Carol about
Okay,
that.
I was just,
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, if we had
Our
found
book
them.
was lost, they paid for it, and then they got.
And then they found
reimbursed.
it. That might be too.
Yeah.
Okay, that was it too.
Yeah,
I remember seeing that
Okay.
one, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like a whole little story behind it.
Those are the kind of stories you get in a
Yeah.
library.
For almost
then, you know,
17
they-
bucks, it must be a good story.
Yeah, it's a fairly costly book, but also some of these, if it goes long enough, then it gets on the national news.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
So the Wayne County Treasurer monthly tax. settlement,
Yes.
Is that? We weren't getting it those. for
No,
a
we were
while.
getting money from them every month, just
Yeah.
a little bits. Now we've had about 2 or 3 bills
Okay,
each month, so hopefully that's not a trend.
yeah. And then is this DTE electric service, is that a month?
Yes,
Okay, wow,
Yeah.
that's a big building.
yeah.
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 It's even more expensive in the summertime.
And the Friends, is that 1 month payout?
There was it is, but they received a donation,
Okay,
so that's a good part of that.
so it's not just book sales.
Right,
So it's
right.
Significant.
Also, where it's the library network, that is more than just Envisionware, that's the monthly book bill as well. And probably a couple of other things.
Back on the Friends, that online book selling that they're doing, mainly through Rika, is phenomenal and has really saved our Friends program from the difficulties of the hiatus that the pandemic would have caused. So they're still actively acquiring, selling things and acquiring resources that they then again pump back into the library.
There are two A production building bills. One, I'm assuming is December.
Yes. I've also asked them to add some cleaning hours to their schedule, so that's why the January one went up a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I have.
Okay, it's very appropriate for us to all bring up our questions because that is what we're here for, to watch and understand. Tanya sometimes does signing of checks. I very frequently do, and I ask a lot of questions along that way. But you learn a lot of kinds of things that you don't ordinarily think of necessarily as part of what a library has to do. And the audit, again, you know, we talked about it last time because we had to clean audit and everything, but it's a lot of work. And now you see that we're paying the final billing for the audit report. So that's good. Any other questions before I call for the vote? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving accounts payable, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed by saying no. There are no dissenting votes, so we have cleared that and taken care of our business for the month. And now we have information. We can move on to information, and first information from our director.
We did have to take a snow day last week. That was some pretty wet, heavy snow.
2 days, right?
Well, we took one day, we took part of the second day, but we ended up having to be closed for the whole day because of the heat of the furnace, but that was not, yeah, it was not the weather related for all of that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it started
It started with the
snowing
snow,
late in that
yeah.
day anyway, so maybe your heating problem kept you from a bigger problem.
So. But you know, it's good to get all of the furnace stuff from cold and wet and whatever the elements can throw at us, get that all figured out now so that we can move forward better. I kind of feel like our HVAC unit is experiencing its terrible twos. But I don't remember it snowing this, I don't remember it being this snowy and cold. The combination last year. So,
Yeah, last year we didn't have quite
I don't
this
think
kind
so
of
either.
stuff, but this is what we often have, so.
Right. I think we're over the hump with COVID. I mean, knock on wood, that the numbers the past couple of days have been down quite a bit, so I'm very cautiously optimistic and happy about that. We seem to have been weathered the storm okay. We have had to do a lot of staff juggling because of COVID exposures. Staff members have been exposed to someone elsewhere and have had to quarantine, and then they themselves have come down with COVID. So we've been doing a lot of just moving parts around to make everything work. But as I said, I think we're down over under the other side of that. We lost a very good circulation clerk, Julia McDonald, who left for a full-time position at Henry Ford Community College. So we wish her well. Also welcoming back one of our former clerks, Liz Valesenti. So kind of lost one and gained one there. Programs, I want to point out our program coming up this Thursday, our Homegrown Knowledge Program. J. Ross Bowman presenting a book program on rare books and their history. I was able to hear him talk at a Rotary Club meeting. He's a very, very fascinating man, very interesting. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist. But he is a man of many interests and talents, and Rare Books is one of them. So I think the Thursday program, if you're not doing anything, please come Thursday.
Speak very highly of. Is a friend of yours?
Yeah, I guess. I interviewed him and we went out to see,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
building.
How is that homegrown knowledge? Is he from this area?
Yeah, he lives in Van Buren.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, I did a story on him when his apartment building burned and
Oh,
all.
yeah, you did.
He had Rare Books that were in
When
there.
was that?
Hmm?
When was the story? I missed it.
About a
That's
year
all.
ago, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
about you.
Yeah. So we lost some.
That's when you read the paper.
Yeah, and cotton and uniforms, he collected military uniforms. His father's brass bed or metal bed, they won't let him go in and get it. So,
Fascinating speaker, very good.
And he lives here, that's nice.
So we are, the Western Wayne County Quilting Guild is doing some sewing workshops for children in March. I'm very, very happy that they have volunteered to do that. So that is going to be coming up. And I give you a fun article to read. You probably saw it on the news already.
Yeah, I
About the young man who made his own library book and he's designed it, and
That's cute.
wrote it and illustrated it and stuck it onto one of the library shelves at his local library.
So we have to keep our eyes peeled and see if we get any local kids doing that. I have a question about our event, another event that's gonna be this, in this month, and that's the story time for the early childhood center room, and we have a nice poster here with Judy Darling, who was a friend of mine, the late Judy Darling. And that's, is this special, is a Darling family involved in this at all, or we're just?
No, but Beverly Meyer was friends with Judy
Well,
and she wanted to do something, so that's how that came about.
Well, I'll
And
be
and Beverly's
sure.
long been a favorite, one of our children's storytime performers. She's done a lot for us over the years.
So the fact she was connected, that she really, I was wondering about the connection, whether she had a personal connection. Judy was really a sweet person, and a lot of people knew her here. I want to make sure that Dave Darling
Knows
knows
about it,
about
yeah.
it, so I'll reach out to him. But that's beautiful, I'm very happy about that. And I imagine you are too, Barbara, because you were instrumental in getting in your packet, you'll see this for the Judy Darling.
Yeah.
Okay, anything more, Mary Jo? Any questions of Mary Jo?
I have a question. So the friends are accepting books now?
Yes.
And where do we need to?
You bring them up to the checkout desk. Accepting like, they're not accepting like 12 boxes, that type of thing. but- No truckloads, but if you have a couple of bags or a couple of bags.
I got a lot.
Okay.
Well, you can make a lot of trips. Bring them in.
Or you could
Yeah.
send different people.
Right. Line up all your friends.
This is my friend's one, this is my neighbor's one, this is my.
I like the puzzle thing.
Yeah,
The
that's-
puzzle
I'm gonna
exchange,
ask you,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
is this
yeah.
still happening?
Oh, the big games, yes. Yeah.
That's this weekend, right?
Did you have to have a kid with you or? can someone-
You don't want to play tic-tac-toe by yourself?
Kid at heart. Kid at heart.
I love Jenga and I'm thinking if I played against smaller kids, I might actually win sometime.
Well, thank you. We are moving right along today. So now I believe we're at the time for all of the trustees to make comments on whatever they want to comment on. And this time we will start with you, Linda. What fun.
Okay. Well, I'm in the middle of winter malaise and I'm very happy for the library to be able to come and get books because it's so cold and so snowy and very icy. And luckily John's son plows our walk and driveway, which I'm extremely appreciative of because I don't want my husband to do it, but and next week I go to Florida, so I'm very happy.
You're going someplace that the grandbaby isn't, or
It's
is it?
not
grandbaby?
gonna be there, no.
Oh. Well, bring us back some warmth.
Okay,
You finished,
I am,
Tanya?
yes.
I'm happy that we moved the dates for our events at the library. You know, I think that that was an idea for us to kind of give people a little bit more time to feel comfortable coming out. But with the numbers going down, I think, you know, this should be a perfect time for us. Looking forward to it.
Further into the year too, the weather might be
Right.
a little better. I think we were talking March 11th for the first thing in March is such a
Iffy.
Never know.
not that April is a lot better, but anyway, yeah. Good, well, thank you. Alma?
Just. Just
You can't talk and write at the same
Yeah, just glad that the donor event is moved back also to a later date. And it gives us additional time to prepare, and anyone that's interested in attending the meetings, feel free. And as Sharon said, you know, all hands on deck. You know, this is a big project to undertake, so hopefully we'll get more people to volunteer, just as we have staff that's willing to pitch in and do more, above their job assignment, I'm sure, because they seem to be very passionate about the library. And I appreciate their dedication and the hard work that Mary Jo's staff has put into coming up with ideas and, you know, just been phenomenal, the things that they've contributed, making suggestions and everything. And also to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Such a romantic.
Yeah, nothing more romantic than a library board meeting. Oh, well. Joy?
I just want to thank the marketing committee because this is your big step up. The building, we're going down now, and you get both, MJ, so. This is your big event, two big events.
Yeah, that's true. It's not just, you're not just carrying the committee reports all by yourself anymore, Joy. Now we can spread the activities around now that we're in the building and finally able to start doing things with groups of people.
Yeah, and also it was just nice to drive up today and see so many cars in the
That's
parking
what I
lot.
Oh,
thought.
yeah.
I noticed it too.
And all the rooms filled
Yeah,
up
yeah.
there, it was really
It
exciting.
was nice.
And it's just starting.
I know,
Yeah.
something we just
Wonderful,
dreamt about.
absolutely wonderful.
I love the room.
If I may ask, are we getting lots of activity from the high school? And
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It keeps it really lively in here.
good.
Which is good.
Yeah, it is. That was what we were hoping for. Good. Well, thank you, John.
Yeah, speaking of parking lot, it's always full, yeah, but I'd like to thank Weesey. I know we pay him well, but Weesey does a nice job on plowing the parking lot of 90 some cars. Also, I kind of wish the city could plow better in this area here so people can get out of the car and put books in if they want, but there's about a
Yeah.
whole island of snow you'd have to walk to, so people actually at this time of year have to come in the building, you know. Also, at the old library, we had the room there with Friends of the Library and all this oak shelving. And before we knocked the building down, I've got had an artist come over and he took out all the oak shelving. And he, if you go to St. Anthony's Church, which I don't do, the whole altar is done with his artwork of our shelves. He does on his machine, he makes artwork. And I asked him if he would do something for the library. And he says he only does the religious stuff. And I says, we got more than Christians in this building. We have Jews and Muslims and all the above, you know. So I says, can you do something that's fitting for a library? So he came up with a piece. It's in Mary Jo's office now, and it's kind of large. And we're not sure yet. It's got to be voted on by the arts group. But I think it's beautiful, but it may not fit the library. You'd have to take a look at it.
It
And it's
is,
made on the shelving of
Oh, is
the old
it,
library.
does it depict something or what?
you might want to take a look.
You'd have to take a look. It's got,
You might want to take a, but
You're
also.
scaring me now.
Also, yeah.
it's got a,
Yeah.
Okay,
you need to take a look.
I've seen it, and I've also been very active with the art committee, and in my earlier comments about that we set up policies in the art committee.
Yeah.
I had that in mind, John.
And
We had to,
And I did tell the artist that in the event it's not accepted, that he can have it, but you know, it's on loan. But then if it's not accepted, he says he understands.
well, the art committee did make its, our policies for the public areas of the building. And so there's possibilities that
If it fits, good. If not, he can have it back.
well, I know where I'm going after this meeting.
can take your humor.
Yeah,
I take it it's not just a large book.
No, no, it's a little different.
it's,
I don't think,
Go see.
I wasn't.
it's a head of a lion. And
Oh.
then it's got a shelf on it. And then it's got Belleville Library at the bottom.
Well, that's
It's
better.
beautiful.
My imagination was going, what?
It's just, it's,
A little normal.
the thing that the art committee put forth was to make sure that our art was consistent or compatible with this building. with the
Exactly,
architecture.
exactly. And I
And
should
this
have
one
been,
might be more compatible with an older, with.
I should have been more clear with the artist and asked for a sketch first.
Well,
But I was more concerned he didn't do something religious.
Right, yeah.
you know,
we'll
so
figure.
it was
We'll
my
figure
fault.
something out, John. We know that you're always active in getting new things.
When we call you, we'll give you a.
Yeah, we could have an extension of the library over at John's house.
Sure. My
We
barn.
always have. Well, thank you, John. Mary Jane?
That's a hard act to
I
follow.
know. And you haven't seen the piece yet.
No. Okay, so I'd like to reiterate what John was saying about the parking lot being done so well. And also how poorly the circular area in front of the library is. So right now, I'm using handicap parking, so there weren't any spots down there because there were people who had already pulled in. So I parked over there behind that store that says no parking, except for whatever customers. We get our shirts, Rick takes his shirts there, so whatever. You could not actually park, or I could not actually park where the sign is. I had to park this far away from the snowbank, which was taking up most of that area. And then I stood by my car and I'm like, so do I want to go all the way around and come in where I know it's been shoveled? Or do I want to traverse that area there where the city did not plow and definitely should have. You know, there's one of those red, bumpy, I don't know what you call them, bumpy things that they put in crosswalks. That's right there, that you can't get to unless you go through this much snow that's about like this, which is what I chose.
Can you request that the city do that? Come and plow or no?
No, they plow the streets.
They do the
They
streets.
don't do anything.
They explained last
think-
night at the meeting that they can't take the snow away. They don't move the snow.
They-
So they
they
do the
don't-
best they can with piling it on.
But they do forestry, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't Reese's that did it, it was
No, I think it's the
city.
city. I'll have to go out and look and see.
Access to a public building.
Well, especially if you're gonna have one of those places where there's a crosswalk, you know,
I was wondering if we have enough handicap parking.
tonight, no.
No, I couldn't find one either.
I was
I
wondering
usually
if we were
park
gonna need to make a few more of the first parking spots away from the building.
Great idea, Troy.
Yeah.
The second thing I'd like to say is that a couple of the books that I've checked out recently that have come from other libraries, when you open up the book, the first page has this little Post-it note on it. It says, "What did you think of the book?" Which I think is really cool. You know, you can tell what you think. It might help somebody to make a decision on whether or not they're gonna try the book.
Is it a
or not.
blank Post-it note or has it got somebody's review on it?
Well, one of the ones that I had was blank,
Okay.
and the other one did have a review on it. It was just, you know, it's like this big. And it just says, what do you think of the book, or something to that effect.
Are they new books? I mean, new prints? You know, they're not.
No, the one I read
Classic.
came out, the one I read was, I think it was published 1999,
Oh, wow.
97.
You can see that for maybe something newly published.
Mhm.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've checked
Yeah.
out quite a few books.
But I just thought it was sort of interesting. The third and last thing is for all of you who are sort of, you know, like winter blahs, don't know what to do. I have an event that all of you could participate
You're
in.
not jumping in the water.
Polar plunge. Polar plunge is February 19th, Saturday, BYC. You register at 9:30.
You're kidding.
You can wear a costume or just your baby.
At my age, I don't do
You'd be surprised
stupid.
how many people do it.
I
Yeah.
can see my grandson doing that.
Yeah,
Just
and it
take a
raises
cold
money for
shower.
Special Olympics, so. You can take a quick bath and donate money at the same
And they
time.
have divers like right there that.
They do, they have
in
the
case somebody
Van Buren
doesn't come
Township,
up.
In case somebody
Rescue
They
goes
do a
in,
really good
in
job.
case somebody goes into shock.
Right.
the first,
Do they have
would
good
be me.
liability insurance?
pardon me.
Do they have good liability insurance?
I saw a shanty out the other day on the lake.
Yeah,
Never saw that since I've been on.
I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
one too.
The first year that two of our granddaughters and one of our sons did it, the three of them were standing on the dock ready to jump in, and one of the Van Buren Township firefighters that was in the water said, "Wait a minute, I have to move this ice over." Anyway, it's
The
a
very
good,
thought of it, Mary Jane.
Yes.
the very thought of it. Well, we give you thumbs up for enthusiasm. John?
I want to add one more thing. Barbara spurred this thought on. I went to get this room tonight for another meeting, and this room was taken, and all these rooms are taken. And I go, that should be on a count, that the number of people coming in, the number of books checked out, and the number of rooms checked out. Yeah, I know it's a little bit more
That's a
work.
good idea, Jeff.
But I think, because we did say, if we get a new library, we're gonna have a significant spot for meetings. And
We
this is
do.
true, especially if we're.
I took a quick look. This is not an exact count, but we probably have booked about 60 different things between September and through
Wow.
January.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
And that's a lot of people.
Well,
And
we
I-
wanted
that's
it to be the,
events.
we wanted it to be the civic hub.
Organizations booking.
Not
the
just
rooms,
people
yeah.
using meetings.
And in the past, we depended on the church or
Organizations
someplace.
using the
Right.
Now
rooms,
we've
yeah.
got the library.
Now,
Everybody meets here,
we
which
have
is
a
cool.
public space. for
And that's
people
why
to
we're
meet.
here. Good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just would, were you finished, Mary Jane?
Yep.
Okay, I just would like, I don't have anything specific. I'm glad that the group has moved along quickly through our business. I appreciate that we are still in kind of uncharted territory in terms of health, public health issues, but I'm pleased to see us moving along. I am particularly happy, as I said, about finding ways in programming to celebrate Judy Ann Darling. That's lovely. And I too, I will amplify the chorus about how pleased I am that we take our shoveling so seriously, because I have to walk to try and make this foot work. I don't think it's gonna ever really work, but walking on the ice and snow is much harder. And really, I walked with a friend downtown, and the area around the library is one of the safest places for you to be able to be out and about in this kind of weather. So that's another public service we are providing. That's all I have. Have a good month. And John,
Madam Chair, I make the motion that this meeting be adjourned.
and is there a
will
second to
second
that
that
motion?
motion.
It's been moved and seconded. It's not debatable. We're adjourned.